I want to share something with people before history is lost forever, because the history books don't tell the right story. Teachers, professors, they don't give a shit. Nobody seems to really want to get the truth. And I'll tell you what the truth is. I've studied World War I and II for decades. And let me tell you, World War I, in World War I, Germany gave Vladimir Lenin $10 million while he was in exile in Switzerland, gave him $10 million, which is the equivalent of $300 million today, to go back to Russia and start an armed revolution. And, as everyone should know, he was successful. He killed the Tsar. He killed the Tsar's wife, kids, and basically communism was born. And this was in the late 1918, 1919. Actually, Lenin was sent there in 1917. The war ended in 1918, 1919, 1920. All through the 20s and 30s, communism took a foothold in Russia for the first time. Now, because Germany gave Lenin $10 million to go back to Russia to start an armed revolution, the reason for that was because they wanted Russia out of the war, so they would only have to fight the British and the French on the Western Front. So if they were able to get the Russian people, or Russia, to withdraw or retreat from World War I, Germany wouldn't have to have men and equipment on the Eastern Front fighting Russia. They could concentrate all their efforts on the Western Front, which is why they wanted Russia out of the war. It was successful. The Tsar got killed. He was, kicked off his throne. He was murdered. His wife, his family was murdered. Communism was born. Russia pulled out of World War I. And then, but shortly after, for whatever reason, Germany ends up surrendering. I'm not sure why they surrendered. They were 50 miles outside of Paris. The British and the French were pretty much were finished. I mean, they were done. I mean, the U.S. got involved in World War I in 1917, but we had the 17th largest army. We didn't have a navy. I mean, we could send men, money, but, other than that, we really didn't have much to help. So Britain and France ends up winning, technically, I guess, right? Because Germany surrenders. When Germany surrenders, the Treaty of Versailles is worked out. It was completed in 1922, and it was horrendous. I mean, they took half of the German Empire. The Austro-Hungary Empire, which was enormous, got broken up. They basically drew lines and made new countries. Poland was created after World War I. Czechoslovakia, the Sudetenland, the Rhineland. So when World War II pops off, Hitler wants all that land back. He wants all the land that was taken from Germany after World War I, because he felt that Germany shouldn't have to pay all these repercussions or reparations. Germany shouldn't have to, be in debt and be paying Britain. And Britain and France were using Poland and Czechoslovakia and all these countries basically for their resources, and the rulers of those countries were like puppets, like puppet rulers, but basically they answered to Britain and France. Some people might argue and say, no, that's not true. Okay, well, if it's not true, when Hitler and Neville Chamberlain met, Hitler asked Neville Chamberlain for the land back in Czechoslovakia. Now, why would Neville Chamberlain have the authority to tell Hitler, yes, you can have that land back in Czechoslovakia with all the ethnic Germans that are living there? Who was Neville Chamberlain to say that to Hitler, right? Neville Chamberlain's the Prime Minister of Britain. So who is he to give land away in Czechoslovakia to Hitler? Well, because Czechoslovakia was basically a puppet state created after World War I, and it was controlled by Britain and France. That's why Hitler invaded Poland. Poland was part of the German Empire. After World War I, they took Poland away from Germany, and Germany had no access to the sea. They had lost tons of resources because of this land that was taken from them. So Hitler was like, I want Czechoslovakia back. I want Poland back. I want the land that we lost in World War I. I want that back. Also, at that time, Hitler was aware of the Bolsheviks and what the Bolsheviks were doing in Russia. Communism, Stalin, Lenin, they were the Bolsheviks. And the Bolsheviks were anti-Christian. They started tearing down churches, crosses, religion. Kids were taught Stalinism, they called it. It was really ridiculous. But for the most part, 6 million Ukrainians starved to death because of his collectivism and his communism ideology. 6 million white Christian Ukrainians end up starving to death. Nobody gives a shit about that, right? He arrests over 600,000 people. He executes over 350,000 people, right? And he's basically targeting all the white Christians in Russia, right? Because communism was created by the Jewish people who believe in Marxism. Marxism is anti-Western, anti-capitalism, anti-America, which is why we're having the problems that we have today in America. Literally, all the problems we have today in America is what Germany went through in the 20s and 30s, which is why they, were so barbaric in their treatment towards people, because of all the civil unrest, because of the economy, because of the unemployment, the criminal element. You can buy a mother and daughter in Berlin for, $10. It was ridiculous. The shit that was going on, there was transgender surgery. They were mutilating people. They were cutting off dicks and giving men boobs. And it made Hitler disgusted. So one of his first acts in 1933, he banned LGBTQ, which was started by the Jewish people, Hirschfeld or Mansfield or something like that. He was the first transgender doctor to perform a transgender surgery. Hitler banned all the LGBTQ in Germany. And the second thing he did was he banned interest on loans. He said, if you're going to borrow money, you borrow money from the state. The state works for the people. It's the people's money. So why should the people be paying interest on money that belongs to the people? Like today, why are Americans paying 30% interest on a credit card? All the wars we fought, all the assistance we give to other countries, but yet Americans are paying $4 a gallon in gas, 30% on credit cards. Well, for what? Why did we have a 20-year war in Afghanistan and Iraq only to have $4 gallon gasoline? Only to not have oil? Only to not, have inflation, have unemployment, allow all these illegals to come in, no jobs. And now with the AI shit, there's going to be even less jobs. But none of that really matters. What matters is that in World War II, Hitler wanted to correct a wrong. Hitler decided, we, Germany, take responsibility for this mess in Russia and all the white Christians that are being killed, the millions of people being murdered, arrested, executed, tortured, starving to death. Hitler felt responsible because Germany, again, gave Lenin this $10 million to go back to Russia, start an armed revolution, and it made Hitler sick to his stomach to know that Germany was responsible for communism being born. So he wanted to defeat communism because Germany created communism by giving Lenin this money. So Hitler was trying to undo what was done after World War I. And for whatever reason, America decides to take Britain's side and France's side, but they never stop to ask why. Why are they taking Britain's side? Why are they taking France? Why would you want to fight the white Christian Germany and you're gonna take sides with Stalin, who's a Bolshevik, who's killing Christians, who's killing white people, Anglo-Saxon white people, but in the millions? Nobody gives a shit about that. Hitler gave a shit about that, and he wanted to put an end to it. But then we come in and we say, oh no, Germany, you can't do that. You can't outlaw this. You can't do this. You can't do that. Who the fuck are we? The German Empire's been around for 1,000 fucking years. And then we come in, After slaughtering the Indians, we have segregation in our country. We have eugenics laws. Women couldn't vote. They didn't have equal rights. And then we are going to have the audacity to go to Germany and be like, oh yeah, you can't do that. You can't live that way. You can't treat people like that. I mean, the 1936 Olympics, Jesse Owens wins the gold medal for the U.S. Germany loved him. Germany was like, oh man, he's great, he's wonderful. Hitler wanted to meet him, shake his hand. Jesse Owens wrote in his autobiography that he was treated better in Germany than he was in the US. Even Franklin Roosevelt didn't even congratulate him on winning a gold for the United States because he was so racist towards black people. So, again, we're like saying that Hitler was this horrible person for persecuting the Jewish people. He wasn't just persecuting Jewish people. He was persecuting criminals, gypsies, people that were anti-government, people that were problematic. I mean, the United States has 15 million people in prison. And how many people should be in prison that aren't in prison, right? I mean, they had no unemployment. Their economy was doing great. They built up their military in 5 years to become the Europe's superpower. And then after the war, what do? We fight communism. We start the CIA because we're worried about communism. And then from basically after World War II, all the way up until now, we're still fighting communism. Still. Hitler could have destroyed communism in World War II if we allowed him to. But no. We rather have Russia as an enemy. We rather have communism as an enemy so we can keep spending money. Oh, there's a threat, so we have to spend money on security. Well, you created the threat. You allowed the threat to continue. Hitler almost fucking destroyed communism, and what did you do? You let that shit spread to China, North Korea, Vietnam. Then the Vietnam War happens because you don't want communism in Vietnam. You're fighting with over in Asia because you don't want communism spreading in Asia. Well, if you would have let Hitler just defeat communism, we wouldn't be in this situation. Again, why did we take Joseph Stalin's side? The guy was the most bloodiest, brutal dictator in history. And we side with him over Hitler? Why? Because Hitler was putting criminals in camps? We put people in camps? We put Japanese Americans in concentration camps. We call them internment camps, but it's the same shit. We took Japanese American civilians who own businesses, who lived in this country for decades. We basically said, you can't have your business, you can't have your house, you have to go to an internment camp till the end of the war because simply you're Japanese. I mean, but then we're going to sit there and say, oh, well, Germany they're being discriminatory and prejudiced. Are you kidding? In the 30s and 40s, America was so racist. The KKK was around, right? Fucking black people were segregated. You had black bathrooms and white bathrooms. Women couldn't vote. Women didn't have equal rights. The civil rights movement hadn't even happened yet, right? So, but then we're going to sit there and say that we know what's best and Germany doesn't know and Hitler doesn't know what they're doing, blah, blah, blah. Well, what we're experiencing today in America with inflation, with the LGBTQ, with the civil unrest, with the rioting, with all this shit that's going on, Hitler was dealing with all that 100 years ago. Decided to fight it, exterminate it, clean up the world, get rid of all these fucking wackadoos, get rid of all these mentally ill people, right? Make a better place for people to live, interest-free loans. They used to pay people to have children, right? They used to give you money to buy a house. They would give you money to buy a car, interest-free. If you had up to 4 children, your loans were forgiven with no penalties. That's the way a country should treat its people. You help us to be successful. You don't hurt us. You don't give college kids credit cards to get into debt. You're supposed to help us as the government. You're supposed to help the people. Not just with Medicaid. You're supposed to help them get educated, buy a house, have a family, because you want your people to be prosperous. But no, in America, success is frowned upon. Oh no, you can't be successful. You can't be happy. No, no, not in America, because the minute you're happy and successful, someone wants to take it from you. Someone wants to destroy you. Someone wants to take you down. I mean, look at Charlie Kirk, right? The guy was doing great. He's 31 years old, married, 2 kids. He's got the whole world ahead of him. And what do? They take him out because he's too successful. He's doing too good of a job. That's America. It's fucking sad. If we would have let Hitler just do what he needed to do, communism would have been gone. We wouldn't have had the Cold War. We wouldn't have had the Vietnam War. Think about it. We wouldn't have this issue in England, this issue in France. We wouldn't have problems with China and Russia because communism wouldn't have existed, right? But we perpetuated the communism. We basically were like, no, we have to keep communism in the world so we can have something to have a security threat, so we can spend more money. I mean, yo, I don't know who thinks of this shit. I don't know who comes up with this shit, but we fucked up. I mean, I understand going after the Japanese. That was a whole other thing with the Japanese. We had to fight the Japanese. But when it came to Germany, we should have just left that alone. Even General Patton said, we fought the wrong enemy. We should have been fighting Russia and helping Germany. And General Patton was so convinced of that, they murdered him. Yes, I know, you look it up and it says, oh, he was hit by a car and blah, blah, blah. You're telling me this guy went through Sicily, D-Day, the whole World War II, and then after the war ends, you're going to tell me he gets killed in a car accident? Come on. It wasn't because he got killed in a car accident. They were terrified that Patton was going to come back to America, write a book, do a movie, go on TV, and tell the truth. And they were terrified of that. So what did they do? They made it look like an accident. He was murdered. It wasn't a tragic, car accident as they claim. He was fucking murdered. Another guy murdered for speaking the truth. It's fucking sad. This whole shit is fucked up. But I just need y'all people to know the truth because it's important. It's important to know that Germany started communism. Germany funded communism. Germany wanted to make that right by going after Russia and destroying communism, and we stopped that from happening. Why? I don't know. Communism is still a threat to us to this day. But we thought, oh yeah, we're doing the great thing. We're helping Britain. We're helping France. No, we were helping the Bolsheviks. We were helping the communists defeat Hitler. And we basically started this whole fucking mess because of our arrogance, because of our ignorance, because we think we know it all. We think we know what's best for everybody. We think we know what's best for the world. Hitler knew what he was doing. The people around Hitler knew what they were doing. They have been through this shit. They were in World War I. They were in World War II. You think millions and millions of people just happen to go along with Hitler just because he was a quack? Because he was some fucking wackadoo? Think about it. Czechoslovakia surrendered. Right? Norway, no problem, surrender. Sweden, Finland is going to fight with the Germans. Romania is going to fight with the Germans. Right? Czechoslovakia, Italy, fight with the Germans. Even France was like, no, we're gonna stay on Germany's side. It was only because of Britain pressure on France to fight the Germans. But frankly, most of France wanted to be an interest-free, Federal Reserve-free country. They didn't want to be stuck to the Federal Reserve. They didn't want to have interest on their loans. But again, we had to tell France what was the best way to live their life. We have to tell the whole world how to live their life with our bullshit democracy. But it's all fucked up. It's all a lie. Everything you're gonna hear is a lie. Everything you're told is a lie. History is written by the winners, not by the losers. But I'll tell you, we fucked up. We should have just left that shit alone, and we could have avoided a lot of problems. The Korean War, right? We fought the Korean War because of communism. The fucking Vietnam War because of communism. We're having problems with China today and the communism. Fucking North Korea and their nuclear weapons, their communism. Communism wouldn't have existed. North Korea wouldn't be communist. China wouldn't be communist. if we would have just let Hitler fucking fix what they created. Germany created communism. Fuck. The Jewish people in Germany during World War I created communism, funded communism, sent Vladimir Lenin back to Russia with $10 million in 1916 to go and overthrow the Tsar in Russia, which is equivalent to $300 million today. So you tell me, what's the right thing? What was the right thing? Well, we didn't get involved in World War II to save Jews. We didn't even know about the Jews until after the war. So why did we get involved in World War II with Germany? Why didn't we just let Germany do what they had to do? Why are we always taking Britain's side? We fought Britain. The Revolutionary War, right? We kicked them out of America. They were kidnapping sailors, American people. I mean, how many Americans did Britain kill? They wanted to keep us under their thumb. We kicked them out of our country, and then we take their side? We helped them in the Opium Wars. We helped them in the Boer Wars. We helped them in World War I. Then we take their side in World War II. Why? Look at what England is today. It's a shit pot run by a bunch of Islamic radicals with a Christian king who's a fucking puppet for the Muslim community. It's fucking crazy. Like, this is what people died for? So Britain could become an Islamic country? The fuck is wrong with you people?